Putting your steering wheel on a Defender is probably a very easy job, but getting it aligned right is another matter, and there's a couple of things that you've got to line up. One of them is this blue ring. It's always on Defenders, but if you notice there's a little piece of moulded plastic on this side but not on this side, and that piece of moulded plastic has to go to the left of the vehicle. It always must go to the left. So that's a good tip. The other thing is the steering wheel. Usually when you take your steering wheel off, it's got these two little prongs on here, and it's on a sprung clip, but it has been known if you buy a new steering wheel it hasn't got this bit attached. So save this bit, because you can buy these steering wheels, and just make sure that the two pins are in a vertical position. This video is about fitting and aligning the steering wheel up. It's not about how many splines there are, etc. That's for another day. But the other thing is, sometimes if you've disconnected the steering wheel, or you've done something to the steering, like the universal joints have been changed, you sometimes play around trying to get this steering wheel back into line again, you know, to get it level. So I'm going to show you a little tip that I use that is quite handy. Some of you may have noticed, especially on Defenders, that at the bottom, on the drag arm, this piece here, there's a little notch, and the reason that notch is there is to align with this screw thread here. So if you get a standard 8mm bolt and put the bolt, screw it in, this can't move. This is actually in the middle point of the steering box. So that means the rest of your steering wheel and all your mechanism is always going to be straight. Now if it isn't straight, you can take the steering wheel off and replace it. So that's what we're going to do next. So I've aligned up the little notch here, sort of level with the joint in the plastic, and now I'm going to fit the steering wheel. Before you fit the nut, there is a little star washer that goes under there, like a shake-proof washer. Don't forget to fit that. Once you've done that, tighten it up to the specific torque, and away you go, and then you can fit your badge and take for a test run. But as you can see there, the steering's pretty rigid in the straightforward position, so I think we've got a good chance. Now what I forgot to mention earlier in this video, I actually put the vehicle on stands to get the wheels off the ground, so that when I was under the vehicle I could push the wheels left or right to get that bolt to go into the steering box, which is a thing I'm coming to next. Don't forget to take the bolt out. Alright, we'll talk to you later. The method I just explained for aligning up the steering box with the bolt in, it might not always work, but it's worth giving a go if you've been playing around with the steering wheel. Because you see, Land Rovers over the years have had different ball joints and tie rod ends fitted, so it is really advisable to get an alignment done, set the track in. But also what could be another factor, if you're driving down the road and you've done this method and it still doesn't line up, is that the drag arm, the drag link that goes from your steering box to your swivel might be just adjusted a little bit wrong. So just be careful of that, because there are Land Rovers that are, you know, like 20, 30 years old on the roads, and they've had new tie rods and new bars and things like this, and they've gone a little bit out of specification. It'll still work, you know, if you've done your tracking. Not many people think about adjusting the drag link, so that could be a factor, so just be aware of that. But otherwise that works pretty well for me.